Welcome back to the Larson Show. Pleasure to be with you, and always glad to welcome back to the program Miss Ann Coulter, whose column is a must-read about where Donald Trump is going. Do you know where he's going right now, Ann?
It's starting to look like the doomsday scenario, Lars.
Ouch. Why? Why is he going this direction?
Well, I guess we always knew this was a risk. He is... It was never his maturity and, deep reading that we admired about the guy. The problem was everyone else running for president wants to fling open our border, our southern border, with a big sign, free medical care, free housing, free food. The rest of the candidates were complete idiots. So, of course, you had to 100% support Trump. At least, Republicans, and forget Republicans, I think that brand is dead. I think the Democratic Party is basically, that brand is Black Lives Matter. It might be a great time for a third party. People forget this, but until Ross Perot started saying crazy stuff, he was ahead in the polls.
Yep.
What Trump and what my book, In Trump We Trust, established is what the popular issues are. We always knew there were flaws in his personality. And basically everything that the fancy NPR Charlie Rose types didn't like about him, that he is an unbelievably tacky vulgarian. We went into this with our eyes wide open, but he was the only one taking the positions we wanted a politician to take. So they're right there. They're just sitting there for anybody else with a little charisma to come along. But this is a disaster. This DACA, to get to my column that went up, late last night or today, this DACA amnesty, the dreamers, everything about it is a lie. We've been through this a million times, and they will not tell you this. I compare the dreamers that are they're so desirable, and it wasn't their fault, and all the cliches that Trump is now using, the ones that he used to make fun of. I compare it to a tiny little part of the 1986 amnesty, which I write about in my book Adios America, the Agricultural Adjustment Act, which was supposed to allow
300,000 or 330, right?
And they had to be living here. They had to be in America and prove that they had worked at least 90 days on a farm here in America in the prior 12 months. That just became a total scam. The courts get a hold of it. All of these left-wing outfits start suing. They take it to Hawaii judges. It goes to the Supreme Court. Up until not many years ago, 20 years after the 1986 amnesty passed, the Ninth Circuit was still granting amnesty to hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens who sued. They sued claiming that it was unfair that they weren't in the country for the first amnesty. Once you have any amnesty at all, I don't care how limited it is, all the left-wing outfits, and don't be confused, there are not two sides in these cases. It's not like, don't worry, we have the government lawyers defending our side and what the law actually says, and on the other side you have the ACLU and La Raza and Catholic Charities and the rest of them. No. The immigration lawyers who work for the government are on their side too. There's just a multitude of them. They will never, ever, ever. Did you see this thing? This is not about my column. Did you see Superman? The latest cartoon is Superman defending some dear, precious, beloved, cowering illegal aliens from white supremacists.
Yes.
They will never give up. And now we have Trump spouting all the cliches that we loved him for making fun of all these years, that, they were brought here no fault of their own, these poor, deserving, these great kids, and, there won't be a wall, but we'll have drones on the border. All the scams. It's like nails on a blackboard, Lars.
Well, and the other phrase I've been hearing him say is, we're not going to do amnesty. We're just going to figure out a way to let people stay here. And I thought, this is the stuff I make fun of. When Democrats say, we're not doing amnesty, they'll pay a $50 fine and have to take an English test or something, and then they'll forgive that at some point. Yes. They know that whatever requirements they throw in, you got to do this, you got to do that. No, they won't. But they know that by the time they're not doing those things, everybody's attention will be somewhere else, and they'll be able to scam it by. There was a former immigration official last week week who said the DACA fraud rate in his experience was 40 to 50%. Because, like you said, these children can be as old as 36 years of age in your column. And I thought, so you've got somebody who's 36, and they say, when did you come here? And he says, well, when did I have to come here? Well, if you came here before this age, then you're in. Okay, I came here before that age. And you know, so those things, the
and
fraud.
remember, the government will bear the burden of having to prove they are not 36. So we are not just talking about 36-year-olds. That's what happened with the farm worker amnesty. All these class action lawsuits were brought, and they argued, well, we can't prove prior farm work because we're illegal aliens. We're working off the books. And, of course, the federal courts agreed because the whole enterprise of our entire culture is to destroy America. And so the burden shifted. The government had to prove you didn't work on a farm. Now, how difficult is it to prove
a negative,
someone's age versus, or the age at which they arrived here, and how long they have been living in the shadows? No, it's amnesty for anybody who wants to come.
Okay, but here's the problem. I think that Trump has a huge ego, and to some extent that can be used on politicians because he has to realize, does he not, that if he reneges on this promise, on the wall and on illegal aliens, that he is going to lose. He will help lose the House, the Senate, and likely the 2020 election, and he will go down in history in the same way that George Herbert Walker Bush went down in history. Read my lips, no new taxes.
Yes.
He approves a kind of an inconsequential small increase in the gasoline tax, and forevermore he's remembered as the guy who lied, read my lips, no new taxes. Doesn't Trump realize he's going to end up in the same boat?
No. I mean, why would he have not realized this already? Why would he? How can the experience of the last year and a half, starting on whatever day it was, June 17th, 2015, if that isn't enough for him to remember that what he promised was the wall, and that was what people were chanting for 16 months. How few brain cells do you have to have not to already know that? And the fact that the idea that you think this guy would even remember the presidency of the first George Bush or has any understanding of how politics work. No, he wants short-term approval. He loves that Democrats are going to say nice things about him right up until he totally screws his supporters, and then they will laugh and laugh and laugh and go and after they sweep the Democrats. This is going to be the most stunning upset. The other thing it's worth mentioning is 2018 is a really good year for Republicans, bad year for Democrats.
Yep.
The next two election cycles, exactly the reverse. If Democrats do well in 2018 election, which they will, if Trump doesn't build the wall, this will be the most shocking political upset in American history.
You're right. Well, because look at it.
End of the Republican Party.
I mean, Ann, on the Senate side, we could arguably win 7 more Senate seats. And then the 60-vote deal is no big deal. Or we could lose a bunch and lose the majority, and nothing will move for the next 2 years in the Trump presidency.
No, it will. He'll be signing whatever the Democrat sends to him because I think his objective is to have them say nice things about him and make sure Jared and Ivanka are socially acceptable in Manhattan.
Well, I think they're going to be reviled in the rest of America, and that's not going to play too well either. Ann, I appreciate you coming on. She is the author of In Trump We Trust, which may have to have an appendix added to it at some point. Trumpism. And she's also writing a bang-up column every single week. Ann, thanks very much. You're listening to The Lars Larson Show.